My chosen one, you who have endured life's storms with unwavering faith, hear me now. I see the burdens you've carried, the quiet strength you've shown against the world's pressures. In your darkest trials, when hope seemed faint, I was with you, whispering courage into your soul. They thought they could dim your light, but you were forged in my divine fire, a beacon of my purpose, unshaken by their chaos. Your light, eternal and drawn from my essence, illuminates truth in the darkness. When they challenged you, they stirred my universe's currents, provoking my sacred order. Now, that force sweeps away their deceptions like a relentless flood. They ignored the warning in your silence, prodding at your peace, unaware their actions would return like a boomerang, teaching them my law of cause and effect. Their mocking voices are silenced, yearning for the peace they scorned, a gift only I provide. They tugged at my eternal plan, and now face consequences from my divine order, precise as a celestial clock. If this resonates, write 2222 in the comments, a sign you stand in my truth, ready for my justice. Listen closely, my chosen one. This was never just about you. They pulled against the universal law, blind to its power, unaware that every action they took was like defying gravity itself, pulling against an invisible force that always pulls back with equal measure. You didn't react. You resonated with my truth, vibrating at a frequency of faith and endurance that harmonized with the heavens, drawing strength from the unseen realms where my promises dwell. You didn't break. You recalibrated to my purpose, adjusting your inner compass to align more perfectly with my will, like a sailor resetting sails to catch the wind of destiny. While they thought they were isolating you, they were setting themselves up for a fall they couldn't foresee, building their own trap with every word and deed, much like someone digging a pit only to stumble into it themselves. Have you ever wondered if you were too sensitive, too intense, too aware? That wasn't doubt. That was my divine insight flowing through you, a gift I bestowed to help you navigate the complexities of this world, sharpening your perception like a blade honed for precision. You saw what they feared to admit, peering beyond the veils of pretense to the core of their intentions. Guided by my light that reveals hidden motives and unspoken fears. You weren't lost in confusion. You were clear in my light, standing firm amid the fog like a lighthouse cutting through the mist, offering guidance even to those who refused to see. Clarity can feel heavy when surrounded by those who thrive in chaos. But don't question your power just because they couldn't bear its weight. Instead, embrace it as a shield, knowing that what feels burdensome to others is your divine armor, protecting you from the storms they brew. Your isolation wasn't exile. It was my way of shielding you, insulating you from their noise, wrapping you in a cocoon of solitude where you could grow stronger, emerging transformed like a butterfly from its chrysalis, ready to soar on wings of renewed purpose. While they played games of ego, gossip, and manipulation, I was moving in silence, arranging the chessboard of justice, positioning each piece with infinite wisdom, ensuring that every move they made would ultimately lead to their own checkmate in the grand game of life. Now, the pieces are falling exactly where your spirit knew they would, confirming the intuitions I planted in your heart, like seeds that sprout at the appointed time, bearing fruit of vindication and peace. Let me Speak plainly. Everyone involved is feeling it now. The liars, the enablers, those who secretly cheered your pain. Each one now confronted by the echoes of their choices, like shadows lengthening in the setting sun, revealing the full extent of what was hidden. They didn't just cross you, they challenged a force they couldn't comprehend, stepping into a realm beyond their control, where my protective hand guards the faithful with unyielding strength. Now, they face a reckoning they can't escape, not through prayers, lies, or clever words, for my justice penetrates every facade, like light piercing through the darkest clouds, illuminating truths that cannot be denied. And you, my chosen one, you stand tall, not bitter, not broken, but aligned with my will, rising above the fray like an eagle on thermal winds, soaring to heights they could never reach. That's what haunts them. Not your anger, not your vengeance, but your elevation, the undeniable proof that my favor rests upon you, lifting you beyond their grasp and turning their attempts to harm into stepping stones for your ascent. You remain while their facades crumble, their relationships fracture, and the systems they hid behind collapse under their own weight, much like a house built on sand, giving way to the relentless tide, leaving them exposed and vulnerable. Stand in that truth, not with pride, but with my peace, not with arrogance, but with the awareness that they thought they could break you. Yet my strength within you proved unbreakable, like a diamond forged under pressure, emerging more brilliant and resilient. They didn't know you were never the weak link. You were my signal, shining bright in the darkness, a beacon calling others to truth and reminding the world of my unchanging love and justice. They poked the quiet one and triggered my divine system, my chosen one. They misjudged you, seeing only the surface calm while ignoring the depths of my power flowing through you, like underestimating a still ocean that harbors mighty currents beneath. They saw your silence as surrender, your stillness as weakness, failing to recognize that in quietude lies the greatest strength, a reservoir of resolve drawn from my eternal source. But in doing so, they stirred something they should never have touched, awakening the guardians of justice I have placed around you, like sentinels roused from slumber to defend the sacred. You weren't just a person walking through their chaos. You were my tripwire, placed in plain sight to activate when injustice boiled over. A deliberate design in my plan to restore balance when the scales tipped too far. When they crossed you, they didn't just wrong a soul. They disrupted my sacred balance, throwing off the harmony of creation like a discordant note in a symphony, prompting my hand to restore the melody. Have you ever wondered why your presence shifts the air in a room, why your soft words carry such weight? It's because I have infused you with my essence, making you a vessel of change, where even a whisper echoes with authority, altering atmospheres and hearts alike. You weren't sent to merely survive. You were planted to signal my shift in the world, rooted deeply in fertile soil of faith, growing tall to herald new beginnings and transformations. Their actions weren't just personal. They were an interference with my divine order, meddling in affairs beyond their understanding, like children playing with fire only to be burned by its heat. Now, the universe, my hand, is correcting every distortion they caused, not with anger, but with precision, adjusting each element like a master craftsman refining a masterpiece, ensuring nothing is out of place. I am your refuge, your stronghold in times of trouble, a fortress unbreachable where you can rest secure, knowing that my walls surround you with unbreakable protection. If my words resonate in your heart, write 777 in the comments, a declaration that you feel my divine truth moving through you, affirming your connection to this eternal flow and inviting others to witness your faith. They didn't see that you were marked by me before you were born, chosen from the foundations of the world, imprinted with my seal of purpose, a sign that you are set apart for greatness beyond measure. They thought they could win a petty war by isolating you, mocking you, spreading lies, but their tactics were like arrows shot into the wind, turning back upon themselves with greater force. But they weren't toying with your emotions. They were tampering with my sacred alignment, disturbing the cosmic threads I have woven, causing vibrations that now reverberate back to them in waves of consequence. Now, the cord they snapped is recoiling, wrapping around them like vines around a crumbling wall, entangling their paths and revealing the fragility of their constructions. Imagine a quiet stream, calm on the surface, but moved by deep, unseen currents. That's you, carrying my strength beneath your stillness, flowing steadily toward destiny, while others splash and disrupt in vain. They laughed at my warnings, and now they weep in the wreckage, my chosen one. Do you recall how they turned your truth into their jest, your sharp, divinely tuned insight, filled with my precision, became their punchline, a desperate attempt to deflect the discomfort your clarity brought. They didn't just mock your words, they mocked my discernment in you, rejecting the gift I placed within to guide and protect, like turning away from a compass in a storm only to lose their way. They twisted your clarity to shield their own comfort, building barriers of denial that now crumble under the weight of reality. But comfort built on denial cannot stand, for it is like a shelter of leaves in a gale, easily torn away, leaving them exposed to the elements they ignored. Now, their laughter has fallen silent, and the wreckage of their own making surrounds them. Fragments of their illusions scattered like debris after a tempest, forcing them to confront what they once dismissed. Have you noticed how loud people become when they try to drown out my truth? They laughed because your awareness unsettled them, piercing their bubbles of self-deception like a needle to a balloon, deflating their inflated egos. When you walked into a room carrying my light, it made those who cling to illusion squirm, highlighting the shadows they preferred to ignore, compelling them to face uncomfortable realities. They dismissed you, rolled their eyes, whispered in their circles, made you the subject of their scorn. But these acts were like seeds sown in poor soil, yielding only thorns that now prick their own hands. But now, the very things they scoffed at are burning through their reality like wildfire through dry grass, consuming the falsehoods and leaving fertile ground for truth to take root. Their noise couldn't silence my truth, and now they stand in the rubble of their own dismissal, unable to find the peace they once mocked in you, searching in vain for the calm that only alignment with me can provide. They thought they could break you, but now they're the ones cracking. My chosen one. They didn't stumble into your pain by accident. Their actions were deliberate, calculated, cruel, planned with the intent to dismantle your spirit piece by piece, like architects of destruction unaware that their blueprints were flawed from the start. They saw your light and chose to snuff it out rather than let it shine, fearing its brilliance would expose their own dimness, preferring darkness where their flaws could hide. When kindness failed to dim you, they turned to schemes, making your pain a story, your struggles a spectacle, your name a casual jest, weaving narratives that twisted reality to suit their agendas. But now, that spectacle turns inward, the spotlight they directed at you reflecting back, illuminating their own fractures and weaknesses. The light they tried to extinguish is exposing every fracture in their foundation, cracking the veneers they so carefully maintained, like sunlight revealing flaws in a supposedly perfect gem. While you stand strong, perhaps even glowing with my grace, they tremble under the weight of the masks they crafted to mock you, burdened by the heaviness of pretense that no longer holds. Why were they so determined to see you fall? Your existence challenged their illusions, a living testament to authenticity in a world of facades, shaking the very ground they stood on. Your grace threatened their control, flowing freely while they clutched tightly to power, reminding them that true authority comes from me. Your endurance shook their insecurities, mirroring back the fragility they denied within themselves, like a steady rock amid shifting sands. If this truth speaks to you, my chosen one, right, Lord, I'm here in the comments, a testament that you stand firm in my purpose, calling out your presence and inviting my continued guidance into your journey. They smeared you, painted your resilience as arrogance, your discernment as delusion. But these labels were mere projections, shadows of their own shortcomings cast upon you to deflect attention from themselves. But I intended their harm for your good, to fulfill my purpose through you, transforming trials into triumphs, like turning thorns into crowns of victory. They wanted you to unravel publicly, to nod in satisfaction and say, "See, we were right," craving validation for their malice. But you denied them that by holding firm. But you didn't give them that. You didn't react. You refined, polishing your character in the furnace of adversity, emerging purer and stronger. You didn't collapse. You clarified, gaining deeper understanding of my ways amid the confusion. Their spotlight, meant to shame you, now reveals their own unraveling, turning the tables in a divine reversal that echoes my justice. The thought of you being my chosen one haunts them at night. My beloved, they'll never confess it, but you linger in their thoughts, not because you sought vengeance, but because you survived. A testament to my sustaining power that defies their expectations. You outlasted the trials they designed to crush you, weathering storms with a faith that grew deeper roots. Like a tree bending but not breaking in the wind, they expected your silence to be permanent, your absence to mean defeat, assuming victory in your withdrawal. But silence from the faithful is often the prelude to greater revelation. They thought isolation would erase you, wiping your influence like footprints in sand. But my mark upon you is indelible, enduring beyond their reach. But instead, you stood firm, endured without fanfare, moved forward without explanation, healed without broadcasting your scars, demonstrating a quiet power that speaks volumes in its restraint. That strength echoes in their minds long after their performance faded, a persistent reminder of what they could not destroy. No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that rises against you, I will condemn, for my protection is a shield that turns back every assault. You didn't retaliate, you resurrected, rising anew from the ashes of their attempts, infused with fresh life from me. You didn't fight to be seen. You walked away, letting my alignment make the noise, a subtle yet powerful declaration that true victory needs no audience. Now, those who bet on your downfall choke on the silence you left behind, their throats dry from the dust of their failed predictions. My chosen ones don't clap back. They become the consequence, embodying the natural outcome of divine law in action. Your energy never left the room, even when you did, lingering like a fragrance that evokes memory and conviction. Your conviction needed no title, no platform, standing on its own merit as a pillar of truth. They thought your fall would prove their point, but you became the mirror they can't face, reflecting back their own distortions with unflinching honesty. Every mention of your name presses a bruise they hoped would heal without accountability, a wound that festers in the light of truth. Their masks are melting, and you are the heat they blamed. My chosen one. They squirm now, not because you exposed them with words, but because your authenticity unraveled their facades, thread by thread, like sunlight melting ice sculptures crafted in haste. You didn't point fingers or shout accusations, choosing instead the path of grace, allowing actions to speak where words might inflame. You simply showed up real, carrying my truth in every step, a living embodiment of integrity that challenged their pretense. That alone began to melt their reputations, their carefully crafted personas collapsing under the weight of my light, buckling like structures too fragile for the burden. You didn't come to destroy. You came to reveal, shining as a lamp in the night, uncovering what was meant to stay hidden. You walked in aligned, grounded, discerning, clean, rooted in my principles that provide stability amid turbulence. Your energy didn't bend to their power plays or false kindness, standing resolute like a tree against the wind, and that made them sweat, uncomfortable in the warmth of genuine presence. They called you too much, accused you of seeing too deeply, claimed you sought drama, but these were defenses, walls erected to protect their vulnerabilities. But they knew you were right, they just couldn't admit it, trapped in their own webs of denial. If this moves you, write 111 in the comments, a sign you feel my divine alignment guiding you, marking your commitment to walk in this light daily. Admitting your truth would mean confessing their lives were a stage, their kindness a costume, unraveling the entire performance they relied upon. Now, as my light demands transparency, their masks slide, their illusions drip like wax, dissolving in the heat of revelation. They blamed you for a fire you didn't start, projecting their inner turmoil onto you. But all you did was exist in authenticity. All you did was enter with your soul intact, your motives pure, your integrity untouchable, a purity that contrasted sharply with their duplicity, that rattled their world, because my truth in you reveals what they hid, peeling back layers like an onion, exposing the core. They gathered against you and lost the battle they started. My chosen one. They whispered, plotted, united in their circles, thinking their numbers would guarantee your defeat, forming alliances like packs hunting prey, but overlooking the divine protector at your side. They were loud, proud, believing power lay in their crowd, intoxicated by the illusion of majority, yet blind to the solitude of true strength. But they never calculated that you weren't alone. You were aligned with me, connected to an infinite source that outmatches any earthly force. No group can outvote my divine order, for my decrees are eternal, not subject to polls or opinions. Why did they need a mob to face you? Your vibration intimidated them, not your voice, resonating at a level that disrupted their frequency, like a pure, tone-shattering glass. You didn't match their chaos or compete for their approval. You stood in my truth, and that stillness unnerved them, a calm that spoke of unshakable confidence. They thought their noise would drown you, but my universe responds to frequency, not popularity, tuning into the harmony of the righteous over the cacophony of the crowd. Your purpose outshines their ego, a radiant light that eclipses their dim ambitions, guiding you forward while they wander lost. Their alliance, built on deceit, now splinters, fracturing like ice under pressure, revealing the weakness at its core, while you walk untouched through their fire, emerging unscathed, for I fight for you. You need only be still, resting in my assurance as I handle the fray. Their betrayal wasn't your downfall. It was your release, freeing you from chains that bound you to lesser paths, propelling you toward greater horizons. You were the mirror in a room of illusions, and mirrors are dangerous to those hiding behind masks, forcing self-reflection they dread. They should have left you alone. But now my universe won't leave them alone, my chosen one. They had a moment, a divine whisper warning them to back off, a subtle nudge from my spirit that they ignored at their peril. They ignored the shift in your energy, the change in your tone, the silence of my spirit within you, missing the signs like travelers disregarding storm clouds on the horizon. They saw you move differently and chose to provoke, stirring the pot without realizing the boil would scald them. Now, they've stirred something they can't fight, touched something they can't explain, awakening forces beyond their comprehension. They weren't just targeting you, they were interfering with my divine order, poking at a purpose greater than this world, disrupting the sacred flow I ordained. And I don't forget that, my memory eternal, ensuring every imbalance is corrected. They couldn't leave you alone because your presence unsettled their falsehoods, a constant reminder of what they lacked. You were my signal, my disruption, my mirror reflecting their hidden truths, holding up a reflection they couldn't bear. If this truth stirs your soul, write, "I am chosen" in the comments, proclaiming your place in my divine plan, declaring your identity and inviting my blessings to multiply. When my truth enters a room, everything false begins to tremble, shaking foundations built on sand, heralding the arrival of authenticity. They mocked your fire, called you too intense, mistook your boundaries for bitterness, but that fire was my flame within, purifying and illuminating. But that fire now burns through the systems they used against you, not because you sought it, but because my universe answers energy, not intentions, responding to the vibrations set in motion. Their lies return like whispers in the dark, haunting echoes that disrupt their sleep, revealing the cost of deception. Their stones now rubble beneath their own feet, a pathway of their own making turned treacherous. My justice doesn't rush. It waits, building momentum like a gathering wave, and when it moves, it doesn't miss, striking with unerring accuracy. You didn't retaliate, you moved on, and that broke their illusion. Your departure a powerful statement of freedom. Your absence is their alarm, ringing in their conscience. Your peace, my prophecy fulfilled, a living testament to my faithfulness. My beloved chosen one, you didn't just survive. You outlasted the storm they created, emerging stronger, wiser, more radiant, like gold refined in the crucible. You didn't fight dirty or play their game, choosing the high road of grace that leads to eternal rewards. You stood in my alignment while their chaos tried to bend you, unyielding like a mighty oak in the gale. That unshakable grace shook the foundation of what they built to break you, crumbling their structures while yours endured. Let that be your closure, your confirmation, sealing the chapter with peace and opening new ones filled with promise. You were never outnumbered. You were covered by me, enveloped in my protective embrace. You were never silenced. You were refined in my fire, polished to shine brighter. Your presence in this space is a testament to your resilience, and I am grateful for your open heart, cherishing every moment you seek my voice. Share this with someone walking through their own fire, someone doubting their silence's strength, offering them hope as a bridge from despair to faith. Let them know they're not losing their mind, they're chosen, and their silence echoes my truth, a powerful force in the spiritual realm. May you be blessed with my clarity, protected by my timing, and surrounded by peace no storm can disrupt, a tranquility that flows from my throne. Keep rising, keep shining. You are my proof that truth never folds, an enduring witness to my sovereignty. If this message burns in your spirit, write "I am yours," Lord, in the comments, sealing your place in my divine purpose, committing yourself anew to my path. My chosen ones, you have witnessed the unfolding of divine justice. Every soul who touched you with malice, mocked your steadfast spirit, betrayed your trust, or stood idly by in silence as you endured is now confronting the inescapable return of their own deeds. Each action they took against you, every whispered scorn, every calculated slight, has circled back like a boomerang, striking at the very foundations of the systems they once wielded to wound you. They believed you stood alone, vulnerable to their schemes, but they were blind to the truth. Every move against you was recorded in the ledgers of heaven, etched into the eternal memory of my divine order. Now, the scales of justice are balancing, and the weight of their choices presses down upon them, dismantling their fragile constructs of pride and deceit. Those who dared to challenge you, thinking they could break your spirit, now wish they had simply left you untouched, for the consequences of their actions ripple through their lives like a storm they cannot outrun. But hear this, my beloved, karma and judgment are not the culmination of your story. They are merely the clearing of the stage, the removal of obstacles that block your path. When I, your God, clean house, it is not solely to bring low those who opposed you. It is to prepare a sacred atmosphere for your rise, to set the scene for the destiny I have ordained for you. While your adversaries are entangled in the chaos of their own making, caught in the webs they spun, you are being lifted into alignment with a purpose far greater than their fleeting schemes. Their downfall is but the backdrop to your elevation, a contrast that highlights the radiance of my plan for you. As their structures crumble like sand castles before the tide, you are being positioned to step into the fullness of my promises, unshackled and radiant, ready to embrace the calling I placed within you before time began. I have not forgotten you, my chosen ones, not for a single moment, From the dawn of creation, I marked specific days for your life, moments set apart in the tapestry of eternity, days that no force in heaven or on earth can delay, cancel, or steal. These are days when doors must swing wide, when your destiny must unfurl like a banner, when the promises I spoke over you must break through into the tangible reality of your life. These moments are drawing near, approaching with the certainty of the rising sun. You may have thought the delays signaled denial, that the long nights of waiting meant my promises had faded, but heaven was merely arranging the calendar, aligning every detail with divine precision, like a master composer orchestrating a symphony that crescendos at the perfect moment. The setbacks you faced, the betrayals that stung, the isolation that tested your faith, all of it was guiding you toward these appointed times, refining you like gold in the crucible, preparing you to shine with my glory. Every tear you shed, every moment you stood firm in the face of adversity, was seen and cherished by me. Those who thought they could diminish you were unaware that they were forging your strength, tempering your spirit in the fires of trial to make you unbreakable. The loneliness you endured was not abandonment. It was my sacred space, a sanctuary where your soul could grow deep roots in my truth, like a tree planted by streams of water, flourishing in due season. The betrayals were not your defeat. They were my tools, redirecting you from paths that would have led you astray, guiding you toward the higher road I prepared for you. The mockery you faced was not a reflection of your worth. It was a mirror exposing the insecurity of those who could not bear the light I placed within you. Now, as their schemes unravel and their voices falter, you stand poised at the threshold of your breakthrough, ready to step into the moments I have marked with your name. So lift your head, my chosen ones, and fix your eyes not on the noise of their downfall, but on the divine timing of your elevation. Do not be distracted by the chaos that surrounds those who opposed you, for their fate is but a fleeting shadow compared to the radiant future I have prepared for you, just as surely as they are tasting the bitter fruit of their actions. You are about to savor the sweet harvest of my promises, a bounty prepared for you since the foundation of the world. These are not mere hopes, but certainties, sealed in my eternal covenant with you. Major days have been inscribed with your name in the annals of heaven, days when my favor will be undeniable, when my hand will move mountains to clear your path, when my voice will thunder through your life, declaring, "This is my chosen one, in whom I am well pleased." When these days arrive, no force, no scheme, no adversary will stand in your way. For my will is sovereign, and my purpose for you is unstoppable. Like a river carving its course through stone, walk forward with courage, my beloved, knowing that every step you take is guided by my hand. Let the noise of the world fade, and tune your heart to the rhythm of my promises, for they are coming to pass with a certainty that no storm can shake. You are not defined by the trials you've faced, but by the destiny I've spoken over you, a destiny that shines brighter with every challenge you've overcome. Share this truth with those who are weary, those who feel forgotten in their own battles, and let them know that I see them, I love them, and I have marked days for their breakthrough as well. Let your life be a testament to my faithfulness, a beacon that draws others to my light. As you move into the fullness of my plan, may you be wrapped in my peace, guided by my clarity, and surrounded by the evidence of my unending love. Your time is near, my chosen ones, and the world will see that you are mine, marked for a purpose that will echo through eternity. Listen closely, my chosen one, for this was never just about you. They challenged my universal law, blind to its power, like sailors defying the wind only to be tossed by the sea's might. Unaware of the forces they provoked, you didn't lash out, you resonated with my truth, your spirit vibrating with the frequency of my promises, drawing strength from the unseen realms where my love reigns eternal, like a melody that lingers in the heart long after it's played. You didn't crumble, you realigned with my purpose, like a compass finding its way in a storm, steadying itself to point true north despite the chaos. While they thought they were isolating you, they were crafting their own downfall, building a fragile tower that my breath would topple, frail as a house of cards before a gust. Have you ever doubted yourself, wondering if your sensitivity was a weakness, your intensity a flaw, your awareness too heavy to bear? That wasn't frailty. It was my divine insight flowing through you, sharpening your vision to see beyond their masks, to pierce the veils of their pretense, like a light cutting through fog to reveal the path ahead. You saw their hidden motives, guided by my light that unveils what's concealed in the heart, discerning truth where others saw only shadows. You weren't lost in their chaos. You stood radiant in my clarity, a lighthouse unwavering in the storm, offering guidance even to those who turned away, a beacon of hope in a world of confusion. Clarity can feel like a burden when surrounded by those who thrive in deception, but never doubt the strength I've given you, even if they couldn't bear its weight, for it is a gift that sets you apart, like a star shining brighter in a darkened sky. Your solitude wasn't exile. It was my shield, wrapping you in a quiet sanctuary where your soul could grow, like a seed nurtured in the dark before it breaks through to the light, blossoming in my appointed time, vibrant and full of life, while they schemed with pride, whispers, and deceit. I was working in silence, arranging the pieces of justice with care, like a master weaving a tapestry that tells the story of restoration, each thread placed with purpose to fulfill my plan. Every moment was crafted to align with my will, and now those pieces fall into place, confirming the whispers I planted in your heart long ago, like seeds sprouting at the appointed hour, bearing fruit that testifies to my faithfulness. Let me speak plainly those who harmed you, the deceivers, the enablers, those who rejoiced in your pain, are now feeling the weight of their choices, like shadows lengthening across their path, revealing what they tried to hide. They didn't just wrong you, they defied a force beyond their grasp, stepping into a battle they could not win, like children challenging the wind with paper swords, unaware of its power. Now, they face a reckoning they cannot escape, no matter their pleas or clever words, for my justice cuts through every facade, like light piercing the darkest storm, exposing all that is false. And you, my chosen one, you stand tall, not with bitterness, not with brokenness, but with my alignment, rising like a mountain above their crumbling plans, unshaken by their schemes, majestic in your steadfast faith. That's what unsettles them, not your anger, not your vengeance, but your elevation, your unshaken peace that reflects my favor, like a river flowing steadily despite the stones thrown into its path. You endure while their facades crack, their bonds fray, and their schemes collapse like sandcastles before the tide, unable to withstand the weight of my truth. Stand in my truth, not with pride, but with my peace, not with arrogance, but with the certainty that they thought they could break you. Yet my strength in you proved unbreakable, like a diamond forged under pressure, shining brighter for the trials you've faced. They poked at my quiet one and awakened my divine order, my chosen one. They misjudged you, mistaking your silence for surrender, your stillness for weakness, blind to the depths of my power flowing through you, like underestimating a calm sea that holds mighty currents beneath its surface. They stirred something sacred, something they should never have touched, like awakening a sleeping guardian whose watch never falters, vigilant and eternal. You weren't just another soul in their storm. You were my signal, placed with purpose to spark change when injustice overflowed, a tripwire set to restore balance when the scales tipped too far, a catalyst for my divine correction. When they crossed you, they didn't just hurt a person, they disrupted my sacred harmony, throwing ripples into the order I created, like a stone disturbing a still pond, sending waves that reshape the shore. Have you ever wondered why your presence shifts a room? Why your gentle words carry such weight? Why your mere existence seems to stir the air? It's because I crafted you as a vessel of my transformation, where even a whisper echoes with my authority, stirring hearts and changing atmospheres, like a breeze heralding a coming storm. You weren't sent to merely endure. You were planted to herald my shift in the world, rooted deeply in my purpose, growing tall to announce new beginnings, like a tree signaling spring with its first vibrant leaves. Their actions weren't mere slights. They were an assault on my divine plan, a reckless challenge to the order I set in place, like defying the alignment of the stars in their celestial dance. Now, my hand moves to restore every distortion, not with fury, but with precision, like a craftsman refining his masterpiece, ensuring every detail aligns with my eternal will. I am your refuge, your fortress in times of trial, a sanctuary where you rest secure, surrounded by my protection, like a city guarded by walls that no enemy can breach. If my voice echoes in your soul, write I stand with you in the comments, proclaiming that you feel my divine purpose guiding your steps, a declaration of your unwavering trust in my plan. They didn't see that I marked you as mine before your first breath, chosen in eternity, sealed with my purpose, a sign of my love that no force can erase, like a name written in the stars that no storm can blot out. They thought they could win a petty fight by shunning you, mocking you, weaving lies, but their arrows turned back upon them, like sparks falling on dry grass, igniting their own ruin. They weren't playing with your feelings. They were tampering with my sacred design, pulling at threads that now entangle them, binding their paths in knots of their own making, like a weaver caught in their own loom. Picture a quiet stream, serene on the surface, yet driven by deep, unseen currents. That's you, carrying my strength beneath your calm, flowing steadily toward my destined end, unshaken by the rocks thrown in your way. They laughed at my cautions, and now they stand amid their own ruins, like builders who ignored the blueprint, watching their work collapse under the weight of their folly. My chosen one, Do you remember how they turned your truth into their jest, your sharp, God-given insight, honed by my wisdom, became their mockery, a desperate shield to hide their discomfort, like children laughing to mask their fear of the unknown? They didn't just scorn your words, they rejected my guidance in you, pushing away the compass I offered to guide them through their storm, choosing instead to wander in their own confusion. They twisted your clarity to protect their fragile comfort. But lies built on denial cannot stand, crumbling like dust scattered by the wind, leaving them exposed to the truth they fled, naked before my light. Have you noticed how loud the deceitful grow when they try to drown my truth? They laughed because your awareness exposed them, piercing their illusions like sunlight through a cracked wall, revealing the flaws they hid even from themselves. When you entered carrying my light, it unsettled those clinging to shadows, forcing them to confront what they buried deep, like a mirror reflecting their unspoken fears. They dismissed you, rolled their eyes, whispered in their cliques, made your name their sport. But those words were seeds sown in barren soil, sprouting thorns that now pierce their own hands, wounding them with their own malice. The truths they mocked now burn through their lives like fire through brittle fields, clearing the way for my truth to take root, like a forest reclaiming scorched land with new life. Their noise couldn't silence my voice, and now they stand in the rubble of their own rejection, grasping for the peace they once ridiculed in you, searching in vain for what only I can give, like wanderers lost in a desert longing for water. If this truth burns within you, write 111 in the comments, a testament that my light guides your path unwaveringly, a beacon to others of your steadfast trust in my eternal plan. They thought they could shatter you, but now they're the ones breaking, their foundations crumbling under the weight of their own choices, like a house built on sand giving way to the tide. My chosen one. Their actions weren't careless. They were calculated, cruel, designed to tear you down piece by piece, like architects of destruction unaware their plans were flawed from the start, doomed to collapse under scrutiny. They saw your light and chose to dim it, fearing its glow would expose their own darkness, preferring shadows where their flaws could hide, safe from the truth's piercing gaze. When kindness failed to sway you, they turned to schemes, spinning your pain into stories, your struggles into spectacles, your name into jests, weaving lies like a web to trap you, hoping to entangle you in their deceit. But now, that web ensnares them, their spotlight turning inward, exposing their own cracks, like a mirror reflecting their flaws back at them, unsparing in its clarity. The light they tried to snuff out now reveals every fault in their foundation, breaking the masks they wore to conceal their truth. Like clay shattering under the heat of my refining fire, you stand radiant, glowing with my grace, while they tremble under the weight of their own disguises, burdened by the lies they crafted to wound you, like a heavy yoke they cannot cast off. Why were they so determined to see you fall? Your presence challenged their illusions, a living proof of truth in a world of pretense, like a clear note ringing out in a discordant song, exposing their dissonance. Your grace threatened their control, flowing freely where they clung to power, showing them what they lacked, like a river running where they built dams. Your strength shook their doubts, mirroring the weaknesses they denied, like a reflection they couldn't escape, forcing them to face their own fragility. I turned their harm into your growth, their attacks into your elevation, like a forge shaping iron into a blade, stronger and sharper for the fire that tempered it. They wanted you to unravel publicly, to nod and say, "See, we were right," craving validation for their malice, but you stood firm, denying them that victory. Like a warrior unyielding in battle, you didn't react. You refined, growing stronger in my fire, like gold purified in the crucible, emerging brighter and purer. You didn't fall, you clarified, seeing my path more clearly through the haze, like a traveler finding the way by starlight, guided by my eternal light. The thought of you as my chosen one haunts them in the quiet of night, a shadow they cannot shake, a presence that lingers like a melody in their minds. My beloved, they'll never admit it, but you linger in their thoughts, not because you sought revenge, but because you endured, a living testimony to my sustaining power, like a tree standing tall after the fiercest storm, its roots deeper for the trial. You outlasted the trials they set to crush you, your roots sinking deeper into my strength, unyielding against their gales, like an oak that stands when lesser trees fall. They expected your silence to be defeat, your absence to be erasure. But my mark on you is eternal, a seal no force can break, like a name carved in stone that time cannot wear away. You stood resolute, endured quietly, moved forward without fanfare, healed without flaunting your scars, showing a strength that speaks louder than their noise, like a melody that lingers long after the song ends, echoing in the heart. I shield you, ensuring no weapon formed against you prospers, turning every attack back upon itself, like a sword striking its own wielder, powerless against my protection. You didn't strike back. You rose anew, reborn in my purpose, like a phoenix rising from the ashes, radiant with my glory. You didn't clamor for attention. You stepped away, letting my alignment speak, a quiet victory that resounds louder than their shouts, like a whisper that carries across a silent valley. Those who bet on your fall now choke on the silence you left, their plans undone by your steadfast grace, like a tide retreating to reveal their empty shore, barren of victory. My chosen ones don't retaliate. They embody my justice, becoming the consequence of truth, a living testament to my faithfulness, unshaken by the world's clamor. Your presence lingered, even in absence, like a fragrance that evokes memory and conviction, stirring hearts without a word, powerful in its quiet presence. Your faith needed no stage, no title, standing tall as a pillar of my truth, unshaken by their scorn, like a monument enduring through ages. They thought your stumble would prove them right, but you became the mirror they fear, reflecting their own flaws with stark clarity, like a light exposing what hides in shadow, undeniable and piercing. Every mention of your name presses a wound they thought would heal without reckoning, a bruise that lingers as a reminder of my justice, a mark of their own making. If my spirit moves you, write "I am yours" in the comments, declaring your place in my eternal plan. A bold proclamation of your surrender to my will, a vow to walk in my light. Their masks are melting, and you are the warmth they blamed. My chosen one. They falter now, not because you accused them, but because your truth unraveled their lies, thread by thread, like sunlight melting frost on a winter morning, revealing the ground beneath. You didn't point fingers or raise your voice. You simply lived in my authenticity. And that was enough to shake their foundations. Like a single truth toppling a house of cards, fragile and fleeting, your presence, grounded in my truth, began to dissolve their carefully built images, their personas crumbling under the weight of my light, like sandcastles before the tide, washed away by the power of truth. You didn't come to destroy. You came to reveal, shining as my lamp in the darkness, exposing what was hidden in their hearts. Like a beacon piercing the night, you walked in alignment, rooted, discerning, pure, unswayed by their games or false smiles. And that made them uneasy, trembling in the face of genuine faith, like shadows shrinking before the dawn's first light. They called you too intense, too perceptive, too dramatic, but they knew you saw the truth they couldn't face. Their accusations a shield for their own fears, a defense against the mirror you held. Admitting your insight would mean confessing their lives were a performance, their kindness a costume, their words a script to hide their emptiness, a facade that could not withstand my scrutiny. Now, my light demands truth, and their facades slip, their illusions fading like mist in the morning, revealing the frailty they concealed. Exposed to the world, they blamed you for a fire you didn't ignite. You simply stood in my truth, pure and unyielding, and that was enough to unsettle their world, like a spark igniting dry tinder, setting ablaze what was meant to remain hidden. My truth in you reveals what they hid, stripping away their layers like peeling an onion, exposing the core they feared to face, raw and undeniable. They gathered against you, but lost the fight they began. My chosen one. They schemed in shadows, united in their circles, thinking their numbers would ensure your defeat, like wolves circling what they thought was prey, blind to the lion I placed within you, fierce and unyielding. They were bold, confident, believing strength lay in their crowd, but they didn't see you were never alone. You were held by me, anchored in my eternal strength, like a rock unmoved by the storm, steadfast and secure. No mob can override my divine order, for my will stands above all earthly power, unshaken by their clamor, like the heavens unmoved by earthly winds. Why did they need a crowd to face you? Your presence, vibrant with my spirit, unnerved them. Not your words, like a single note disrupting their discord, pure and resonant. You didn't match their chaos or seek their approval. You stood in my truth, and that quiet strength shook them, like a flame outshining their noise, bright and unwavering. They thought their shouts would drown you, but my universe answers to my harmony, not their volume, aligning with the rhythm of my purpose, eternal and unchangeable. Your purpose outshines their pride, a light that pierces their fleeting ambitions, like a star outlasting their fleeting sparks, enduring beyond their reach, their alliance, built on lies, now fractures, splintering like brittle wood under pressure, while you walk unscathed through their flames, for I fight for you. You need only rest in my peace, trusting my hand to clear the way, like a path opened through a wilderness. Their betrayal wasn't your ruin, it was your freedom, releasing you from chains to walk my higher path. Like a bird freed from a cage to soar into the heavens, you were the mirror in their house of illusions, dangerous to those hiding behind masks, forcing them to see their own reflections, raw and unfiltered. a truth they could not escape. If my words ignite your soul, write 444 in the comments, a sign that you carry my light boldly, unafraid to shine in the darkness, a beacon of my truth. They should have left you alone, but now my universe pursues them, my chosen one. They had a moment, a whisper from my spirit urging them to step back, a warning they ignored at their peril, like sailors disregarding storm clouds on the horizon. They saw your energy shift, your tone change, my presence in your silence, but they chose to provoke, blind to the tempest they stirred, like children poking a sleeping lion, unaware of its strength. They touched what they couldn't understand, awakening a force beyond their control, a power woven into the fabric of creation, eternal and unyielding. They didn't just target you, they challenged my divine order, tugging at a purpose woven into eternity, like pulling a thread that unravels their own tapestry, leaving it in tatters. I do not forget those I protect, my memory eternal, ensuring every wrong is righted, every imbalance restored, like a scale brought back to balance. They couldn't leave you be because your truth exposed their falsehoods, a light they couldn't dim, like a beacon piercing the fog, unwavering and true. You were my signal, my spark, my mirror reflecting their hidden selves, a truth they couldn't escape, undeniable in its clarity. When my truth enters, all that is false trembles, shaking the ground beneath their feet, like an earthquake toppling unsteady walls, bringing down what cannot stand. They mocked your fire, called you too fierce, mistook your boundaries for bitterness, but that fire was mine, burning through their schemes, purifying the air they polluted, like a flame cleansing a tarnished vessel, restoring its shine. Their lies return like echoes in the night, haunting their steps, their stones now rubble under their own feet, a path they paved to their own ruin, marked by their own choices. My justice waits, then moves with precision, never missing its mark, like an arrow finding its target in the dark, guided by my hand. You didn't retaliate, you moved forward, and that broke their illusions. Your absence, their warning, your peace, my promise fulfilled, a testament to my faithfulness, enduring and true. My beloved chosen one, you didn't just survive, you outlasted their storm, emerging stronger, wiser, radiant, like gold refined in the crucible, shining brighter for the fire that tempered you. You didn't stoop to their games or fight with their weapons. You stood in my alignment, unyielding as a rock against the waves, steadfast in my truth, like a mountain unmoved by the wind. Your unwavering grace shook the foundations they built to break you, proving their plans frail against my strength, like straw before a gale, scattered and powerless. Let this be your peace, your assurance you were never outnumbered. You were covered by me, wrapped in my love, like a child sheltered in a father's arms, safe and secure. You were never silenced. You were refined in my fire, polished to shine brighter, like a gem catching the light, radiant with my glory. Your presence here, reading these words, is a testament to your enduring faith, and I cherish your heart's openness, a vessel ready for my truth, prepared to carry my light. Share this with someone facing their own trials, someone doubting their quiet strength, offering them hope like a lantern in the dark, guiding them to my light, a beacon in their storm. Let them know they're not lost, they're chosen, their silence a powerful echo of my truth, resonating in the spiritual realm, stirring the heavens. May you be blessed with my clarity, guarded by my timing, wrapped in peace no storm can shake, a tranquility flowing from my throne, eternal and unshakable. Keep rising, keep shining, my proof that truth never bends, a living testimony to my unchanging love, a light that endures through every trial. If this message sets your spirit ablaze, write "My heart is yours," Lord, in the comments, sealing your place in my eternal purpose, a vow to walk ever closer with me, hand in hand with my divine will. As we draw this sacred moment to a close, my chosen one, pause and let the weight of my words settle deep within your spirit, like a seed taking root in fertile soil. These are not mere words, but a divine summons, a call to step fully into the purpose I have written for you since before the foundations of the world. You have carried heavy burdens, endured silent battles, wept tears unseen by the world. But know this, your endurance has not been in vain, for I have seen every moment, treasured every tear, and marked every step. I have marked you for a destiny that no force can cancel, a path that shines with my glory, leading you to heights beyond your imagination, like a river flowing toward its destined sea. Your trials have been the forge where I have shaped you, not to break you, but to prepare you for the greatness I have planned, refining you like gold to reflect my light. Go forward with bold faith, speaking my truth over your life each day. You are marked, aligned, chosen, and unstoppable in my purpose, a vessel of my glory. Let your heart burn with expectation, for I am moving in ways that will leave you in awe, declaring, "Only my God could have done this," a testimony that will echo through generations. Share this message with those who need to hear it, those weary from their own storms, those questioning their worth, and let them know they are seen, loved, and chosen, their struggles a canvas for my grace. I bless you with unshakable peace, unwavering clarity, and undeniable evidence of my hand upon your life, a presence that transforms your path. Rise, my beloved, and walk boldly into the future I have prepared, for you are mine, and your time is now, a moment marked in eternity for your breakthrough.